Welcome to Steelfest 2025. Here is Rauta channel, some Polish quality black metal. Yes, it's the one that you've been expecting for quite a bit. It's Deus Mortem with Mr. Boss of the band. Let's introduce the band. Sir, please state your name and why are you here with me?
I am here with you because we agreed for the interview. That's the easy one. So I'm the founder of Deus Mortem, and I'm a main composer in the band. And actually, let's say that I am an artistic director of the band.
Mr. Artistic Director also brought some Polish
speciality.
Okay, let's start with that. So we have a couple of glasses. One is for the cameraman. One is for you and one is for me, and you shall do the honor. What are we drinking and what kind of stuff?
It's a Queen's cordial. I'm not sure if we can, if we should make any advertisements.
Okay.
But let's try it first.
Let's try it first.
Maybe it's awful. I'm not sure what it is.
It surely has some smell to it. Okay, this actually the smell is quite nice. Can't say anything about it. And a little bit of the cameraman who is going to die after this interview because of the Polish booze. Cheers, Mr. Cameraman, and cheers to you. Let's have
40%, so it's not a fake liquor. It's.
This is quite an interesting taste. Sweet and.
And the smell is smooth. It's not as so ordinary as cheap vodka stuff.
This is it's almost like a little bit honey in my drink.
Yeah.
Oh.
The finish is similar to honey-based drinks.
And we're gonna get drunk before we start talking. Oh, I'm choking. No, let's talk about you guys. Just prior to starting this interview, you obviously played a powerful show. Evening is getting darker, but it was also quite cold. And you mentioned that playing the guitar with the cold atmosphere is can be quite challenging.
It is challenging because we are perfectionists. We always are trying to make things as best as possible, and playing in such conditions when it's so fucking cold, when you cannot play properly your parts, is really annoying, and sometimes it kills our inner energy on the stage. Of course, it takes maybe a few seconds and you are in a different place and the show goes on. But it wasn't perfect, if I can say. I know my mistakes, and I'm always ashamed when somebody shows me any kind of YouTube video and shows me, oh, you fucked up. Okay, I know that. Don't show this to me,
Does it really
matter? I don't want to see
that.
I don't want to see any videos of Deus Mortem. I never watch it.
Okay.
Because I'm aware of my mistakes, and I'm not feeling good when I see that.
So are you a little bit of a perfectionist in that sense?
I'm trying to be perfectionist. Of course, there are better musicians than me, of course, but I think as long as if we aim to some level of quality, it always is a path of development for us as musicians, as artists, and so on. We cannot be satisfied with everyday results. I think we should always look further. We should cross the line on the horizon, and you know what I mean.
Fair enough. Now, your music is obviously black metal, but it's not really your typical, if there is one, Polish kind of black metal, yet there is a lot of this Polish sound in the music. So I'll rather you describe the music. If there is someone like who would have to explain what Deus Mortem is musically, what would you say?
Of course, the core of our music is black metal, but because we chose this musical path because it was the closest to us. We grew up on listening to bands from Scandinavia, from Switzerland, and so on in the 90s. And I don't know how it happened. It was just a feeling that we won't do this kind of music. Maybe if we have some other projects when we play death metal or different sounds, this sphere around Deus Mortem, this black metal is always the most important for us. And if I can describe it, okay, the core is black metal, but sometimes we use different influences because we listen widely music. So the spectrum of our interests is wide, and we of course grew up on hard rock music, on heavy metal, on classic rock. So sometimes we incorporate elements from different styles. Previously, it wasn't maybe as much visible as now, because on the last album, Thanatos, we used more measures like this. So this is black metal, but with good old school rock and heavy metal influences.
Well, I think
this is how I could describe it now, because it is not a permanent change.
Yeah. But I think it's good that you're showing your roots. The question is, does the younger audience understand any of the ages you're talking about? And
I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter. Does it matter if they do?
No, it doesn't matter. You know, I think never mind how old are you. If you have a good taste, you can find something interesting, and you can appreciate what you are receiving from the artists. So I am not sure if to understand well what we are, I am not sure if it is necessary to know all those old school bands. Maybe we are some kind of a reflection of good times in music, you know what I mean?
Okay, that's actually an interesting way to put it. Now the thing here is, you have quite a bit of very fast and quite aggressive parts, and of course that is very, very much present when you're on stage. You're not really like holding back or, you know, making it easy. You are always like there with full force, and the kind of a somehow like a evil, powerful force. Yes. How much is this, say, violent side or aggressive side necessary to Deus Mortem?
It's one of the elements of our foundation, I think, because we wanted to Deus Mortem to be aggressive, but on the other hand, we have a lot of atmospheric songs. But I can describe it to bands like Metallica in the 80s, for instance, when 90% of the songs are fast and aggressive, and you have some ballads. So I think this is a kind of attitude maybe which we are using.
Okay, that is so really going to the old school ways in that sense.
Yeah, you know, we are a black metal band, but we like to have ballads in our on our schedule, you know.
That's refreshing, because as an old school metal fan, I really like when there is contrast, and sometimes it seems like bands of modern days of extreme metal, they tend to be afraid, like, hey, are we gonna get accused for being lame or whatever?
I know what you mean. Years ago, maybe I looked back too often, you know what I mean, on my artistical path, and I was all the time looking back how the new creation is and looks in comparison to what I did previously. So that was completely pointless, and I only in the last few years changed my mindset completely, and the emanation of this change is last Deus Mortem album, when I completely didn't give a fuck if the new elements, if people will like new elements or not. I just opened my mind, and there were a lot of ideas which I wanted to do since so many years. And so I said to myself, why I'm still struggling with myself to use these ideas, to work on them. Let's make some good songs using these ideas. And so we did.
You also have other bands which are quite a different style, and obviously when you have different ideas you put in the different bands, but what's the story with you when you make certain songs? Are you like, okay, this is Deus Mortem and this is, well, something else?
Well, actually, the other band I have is Anima Damnata. It's brutal death metal, as you know. And the story began a couple of years earlier than Deus Mortem was founded. So I was hungry for playing of brutal death metal. Of course, I was playing death metal then too, because I had then my other band, my first band, but it's not worth mentioning because we didn't do anything interesting.
Come on.
It was called the Devotee, but we didn't even didn't record any demo because I played with people who were not so much dedicated, or maybe half lineup was dedicated, half lineup wanted just to go to a rehearsal room every weekend and to play some metal, you know.
Yeah.
So until I joined Anima Damnata in the middle of 2000. It actually was the start of the beginning of my serious presence on the metal scene in Poland. So I was really hungry for playing such a stuff, and over the years I identified much more with that kind of music. So if I look on this now, Anima Damnata is as much important as Deus Mortem for me. You know, I treat these bands as my children.
Yeah.
So
you cannot pick favorite one.
Yeah. Of course, Deus Mortem is my favorite one because this is closer to my heart. If I can use such a description, you know. But I couldn't leave Anima Damnata and to stop playing that kind of stuff. Maybe we are not so active, but because you know we have families, our professional careers, and so on, and Deus Mortem is my priority. So we are limited in time.
Yeah, obviously, like everybody has it.
But the story is simple. I just need to play different styles of music. This is why I always undertook cooperations with other bands in Polish scene. So when I received an offer to join some band as a session musician or help for live shows or to be a permanent band member, I agreed. I often agreed because for me as an artist it was kind of great experience and something unique.
Now, as an artist, you obviously your main choice of weapon is guitar, but obviously you need to have understanding of various other instruments in order to make so-called magic happens. And the older you get, the more understanding you get. Has it been easier or harder for you to play in these various bands when you evolve and progress as musician?
I think that playing in Anima Damnata was the most demanding. So if I was able to play what we play there, any other band was easy. So of course it was challenging always to play someone else's stuff. You know, because we play differently. Maybe for a person who is not knowledgeable with playing an instrument, it is not as clear. But try to play with someone, and you will see the difference. How you play, how he builds songs, and so on. Every riff looks different. The challenge. One of the most challenging things besides Anima Damnata was playing in Quickfire, because I was invited by them to help them during live shows a couple years ago, and the way Tom is making riffs is completely different from anything I faced previously.
Okay.
So it was difficult. It was difficult to understand his way of thinking, you know, his guitar thinking.
Now, obviously, death metal and black metal has a lot of in common, especially in the sense of you know having this certain kind of aggression and often anti-religious topics and all. But like you said, the music how you play it and the feeling is very, very different. How does your personal mindset go from one set, okay, now we're playing death metal, and now we're playing black metal? How does it change?
You know, it is not any kind of plan, because it is not possible for me to summon an inspiration. Oh, let death metal riffs come to me. No, it is not possible, because I'm just. It depends on the mood. It depends on the mood. I often sit with guitar and I practice, or I just play riffs, and it depends on the mood. This different styles of music come to me naturally. Maybe it is a kind of some level of inner anger. You know what I mean? If I'm really pissed off on the overall reality, there is more death metal in it. Maybe this is it. I'm not sure how the ideas come to me. They just come to me. I record it and I work on them later. But there is no special time for a particular kind of riffs.
Let's talk about
it's a huge melting pot of ideas.
Oh, all right. Okay, I get it. Let's talk about the band name, Deus Mortem. It can be seen a very offensive name, or it can be seen just one of those fancy Latin name.
Oh, it was taken from Anima Damnata song.
Yeah, but
because we had on our first album with Anima Damnata, we had a song named Deus Mortem. I don't like to mention that this is incorrect, because if we have used correct Latin language, it should have sounded Deus Mortis, the god of death, you know. But this is the similar story as with Disaster from Germany, and the name which is written with a mistake, but they took it from Destruction.
And the name goes on, that it lives on.
Yeah, so this is a similar story. So
it's fine. It's fine.
It's not as bad, but over the years when I realized, fuck. This is a mistake. We should have checked it before.
I think I remember this. There was this band called, I think, Necronomicon, which was misspelled Necronomicon, and they were like, "Fuck it, it's gonna live on."
Okay, you can always explain it as an artistic impression.
Yeah, of course.
Invention.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the lyrical side. What people need to know about Deus Mortem if they want to, get the album and they're gonna open up the booklet?
Yeah.
What will they find?
My lyrics based mainly on my own experience on many levels, on the material plane, on some higher spiritual planes, and so on. It is always an emanation of my thoughts that come to me during meditation or some situations in life that affect my life directly and sometimes change my way in life. The core of my lyrics is always the same. This is something I have touched and experienced. Sometimes it's more or less occult, but I'm using occult symbolics because this perfectly describes some feelings, some situations, and sometimes it describes, it touches energies which I am trying to work with. So this is very personal, based on my experience, my life experience, my overall life experience.
Do you ever get people asking like, hey, what are these lyrics supposed to be? What are they supposed to tell? Because it feels personal.
Yes, but I don't like to explain such a things because it is sometimes too personal. It is sometimes for me difficult to even write a lyrics in this way, because sometimes I feel that people maybe will know too much about me, So this is a kind of boundary I have to fight within myself.
As a continuity to that topic, why do you write personal lyrics if you don't want people to understand about you?
That's good. This is good question.
I know it's an annoying one, but
this is why I don't use a simple language. I always try to use a poetic language and to use some words which has a lot of meanings. So some sentences are not as simple as you think they are.
So do you want to be the smart guy in the room, like, hey, let's see if these guys understand it?
There are some people who know what is in their lyrics, but those people are mainly people who know me personally, and they know the way I live, they know what happened in my life, and so on.
Do they ever come to you like, hey, come on, why do you write about this? Why do you tell it this?
No.
Or more, are they proud of you?
No, people rather like my lyrics, and for many people, I know those lyrics are something special, and some of my friends say that there are not so many people in Poland who write such a lyrics. This is a very nice to hear it, but I don't like to concentrate on myself and to get attention for myself, because I know always there are people who do it better. You know what I mean? I do my work, I do my thing, and as long as I'm satisfied and people like it, everything is okay.
What about the other guys in the band? Do you expect them to read and understand the lyrics, or do they come to you and say like, hey, what is this? I want to know what this is supposed to mean because we're playing in band.
They are rather informed what happens in the lyrics, because when I write the lyrics, I read the description. What is it about? Not maybe I don't touch any details, but I just described. I give them a brief description what the lyric is about, and they like it, I think.
Well, that sounds smart, because I've been in bands too, and I never realized whether or not the people in the band, if they like understand it or care about it or whatever, and I'm like, should I even explain them, or are they reading but they don't comment? So that's a very, very interesting approach to it, and I think it's very smart. Now the question, I guess...
Because I want people to be involved in the band, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the next question is, how do you choose who are you working with? Does the band member have to have certain qualities? Like, okay, you know your instruments, but...
Yes. I expect a specific mindset. But the people who I play with, they previously played with some bands. So I had an opportunity to watch the fruits of their creation.
Yep.
So this is where my trust is for them is rooted, you know. So I knew that if I talk to them, there are not people who accidentally became a part of the metal scene. So there are not people from nowhere. You know what I mean?
Do you...
So this is why I trust them.
Since you've been in many bands and you have to get to select these guys in a band, what is your relation, or what do you think about collaborative artists? Like, hey, a certain band member goes to a band to play guest vocals, or like,
Yeah.
so let's play a game. If I wanted, hey, can I do guest vocals in your band? What would you say to these kind of people?
It was never a thing that people who I didn't know,
Yeah.
or were not, if they were not, if they weren't in a relation, I have never agreed for such a thing, you know.
Yeah.
If I agreed for any collaboration, I had contact with those people before, and if I agreed for anything, I had a reason.
Okay.
So it is not a thing that somebody who, you know, I never talked to writes me an email. Oh, hey.
Yeah, it just came to my mind because we're talking about this. Because we're talking about these. Like you've been in various bands.
If I see dedicated people whose mindset is similar to mine, I have no problem to help them. But there is one condition: I have to be a fan of that band. And the second thing, if somebody did something special to me, and I would like to reward
Okay.
something to
Okay.
somebody.
Now we had this conversation with the colleague band Arcona today, and I wanted to ask them about the Polish scene
Yeah.
and how it is nowadays, obviously, because Poland being very, very Catholic country, and obviously Catholic people are not exactly big fans of extreme metal, who is like
Yeah.
stepping on their toes. How do you see Poland welcoming or unwelcoming, for that matter, the extreme metal you guys are playing?
You know, we didn't face any serious problems in Poland from the Catholics and so on. It was maybe there were maybe a few situations when the shows were cancelled or so on, but far more shows were cancelled due to left-wing activists.
Okay, so the political wing is...
Yeah, of course, of course. This is the far greater problem than Catholic Church, because Catholic Church is weak. It is not a dominating power in Poland. So I am not sure if we should even care about them. You know.
All right, let's move on then. And why is, say, left wing or Antifa or whatever, why they are targeting bands like you in the first place?
Yes, they are targeting the bands like Deus Mortem because our previous drummer Stormblast was involved in Infernal War, and they had and he has an episode 25 years ago in a skinhead band when he was a session live member. He played a few shows, maybe 3 or 4, I don't remember now, but they are still picking this fact from his past and saying that this guy is Nazi. You know, this is fucking dishonest because people who do it are not crystal clear. You know what I mean?
I think I know what you mean. This is like crazy, like I'm not gonna mention bands, but I think a lot of people who know certain Swedish or Norwegian bands know that, okay, if you murder someone, you go to prison, say 10 years, 15 years, you do your time, and everybody's like, hey, it's okay, we're gonna see your show. But if you don't go to jail for crimes you didn't do, but you have wrong opinions about politics, then you are like a forever criminal.
You should pay for it until the end of your life.
Yeah, like when does it get old that you played in a say Nazi band? When can you serve your time?
Is it. You know, maybe my participation in Thunderbolt was also the problem for those in left-wing environment, but those people don't remember that Thunderbolt cut off from NSBM scene in 2000.
Yeah, so that was also more than 25 years ago.
Yes, and Paimon, also known as Shigen, he was... the NSBM scene wasn't satisfied with his decision, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, because we had this conversation with Paimon a couple of years ago.
And they wanted to destroy him on from every side. So I knew that Paimon is no longer his band is no longer a part of the NSBM scene, so I met him at the end 2002, and I was a fan of Thunderbolt, and I knew that this is not an NSBM band, you know. I knew that there was some past, but the past was only a connection with other NSBM bands, because Thunderbolt wasn't clearly an NSBM band. It was always Satanic black metal band, but you know, if you start a band with and you have 16 years old and your friends are guys from Graveyard, Infernum and Full Moon, so what can you expect?
Oh yeah.
So
it sticks.
If I knew that those guys those times, I would be completely, you know, mad about everything what happens in such a company, and I would also do the same things, church burnings and other weird stuff. Weird. Okay.
But I mean,
okay. Let me finish what I wanted to say. When I joined Thunderbolt, it was almost 3 years after Paimon cut off from NSBM scene. So it is not important for left-wing activists because they consider me as the same person who founded the band.
So then you are both hunted by the NSBM people. They hate you for doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're also hated by the people who are anti-NSBM.
Yeah.
So doesn't it seem like it's very fucking stupid?
I don't give a fuck about it because there are not people who I meet every day, you know.
Yeah. So they're just online.
Those people have only two things in life: writing emails and commenting, and nothing.
Keyboard warriors.
Nothing more. I never pay my attention to any kind of criticism from those people because I have never even gave even a single answer to some kind of comment on in the social media and so on, because I think that if those people stuck in this matter, let them live in that, because they bring nothing to my life, they mean nothing, and they can do nothing to me, because they cannot change my mind, they will not change my life path, and they will never cross my way in any significant way.
That's a pretty strong statement, and I gotta say, I admire you for that stuff. Now, getting back to Deus Mortem stuff, because you are both recording albums, obviously, actively, and obviously you also play live and stuff. Which one is more important to you?
Both things.
Yeah, but I know I always know a lot of bad. Thank you, by the way. Always putting out like, oh, both are important, but which one is more important if you have to choose?
If I have to choose, it's hard to say, but maybe the overall process of creating songs in the studio is the most important. It's essential, because without that, our live shows has no meaning. You know what I mean? Maybe no meaning, but because without our records, we don't have songs to play live.
But you have the backlog.
So this is the most important thing.
Okay. Now, this is something that has been interesting for me a while, playing in the bands myself, and I've been thinking like, how do you choose? How different people choose the songs for the live set? Now, obviously, the more albums you have, the harder it is to choose this, say, 45 minutes or 60-minute set. So, how do you figure out what you want to play live?
There are some songs which we are doomed to play.
Okay.
Because we know that people expect them.
Hit songs.
A lot. Yes. There are some 3 or 4 songs that we must play always. But I wanted to change this. This approach, but my bandmates told me that sometimes that we should maybe play something from our older stuff and so on, because they are new in the band and maybe they are hungry for playing that things. Sometimes I'm bored of playing older stuff because I played it so many years that I would maybe focus mainly on the newer stuff. But I'm trying to listen to the voice of the rest of the band, but there is always a schedule for hit songs.
Do you have certain favorites, like this is something that always goes to the song list because I fucking love it?
Yes.
Can you name a couple of examples, like, because this could be interesting to the people as well?
For instance, there is a song from our EP entitled "Penetrating the Veils of Negativity." This is the song about 9 minutes. There is also Ceremony of Reversion Part 2, also about 9 minutes. So this is the problem why we don't choose such a songs so often. But we will try to incorporate those songs into our live sets. And there is also When the Creation Tastes of Dionysian Wine from our last album, which for me is a very special song.
Don't tell me it's another 9-minute song.
No, it's about 6. It's about 6, but from artistical point of view, this is one of the best songs I ever created, I think. Because there are echoes of the 80s, there is brutality, of black metal in the vein of Bathory or Darkthrone. And there is something special within these songs, especially that writing the lyrics. When I wrote the lyrics, it was previously I was meditating a lot with tarot cards, and I can say that that energy that appeared in those moments is resulted in the lyrics. So if I take an overall look on this song, this is one of the most mature things I did. There are many songs like this, but this one is my favorite because maybe this is something new.
Before we move to the last quick questions, you mentioned meditation a couple of times now.
Yeah.
What is the best thing you get out of meditation, and what kind of meditation you do? Because I know there are many schools of meditation, but
Yes,
what is
but
your chosen style?
This is not the kind of any path of I follow. I just control my breath and I don't move. And as long as you can lie in this position for an hour or two, something interesting happens in your mind.
Fair enough.
You are then an observer, and some images and some thoughts are coming to you, and you don't judge them. You just observe them, and you are just trying to get any information from them. Because sometimes it is a kind of emanation of your subconscious, and it is not as easy for us on a regular basis to get so deep into our own mind, because you know what happens around. There is chaos and a lot of mind issues which takes our attention. So sometimes we have to find our way to delve into ourselves and to look what the fuck is going on there.
Now, if there was someone who wanted to learn your ways of meditation, what should they start with?
As I said, lie without any emotion and control your breath.
And that's it.
I think this is these two techniques are very difficult because it sounds easy, but it is not.
Okay.
But this is the basis of getting deeper into it. I'm not a kind of a master, you know, so don't think that I'm as experienced and as I don't know, any kind of guru. But I'm trying to work on myself, to develop on myself, and this is a useful tool for myself.
All right, and now we will move to a new section I just created on the spot. Okay, quick questions. What is the best band for you?
The best band for me, Abigor.
The best album ever?
Best album ever. Viles Taros.
The one place you would like to play at if you get to choose any country in the world or any city?
Mexico City.
A band you would like to warm up for the most?
Abigor.
The kind of
But it will never happen.
But the kind of music you would like to play which you haven't done so far?
Excuse me?
The kind of music you would like to play so far but you haven't?
I would like to play progressive rock stuff as Rush or as Polish Riverside.
So there is a plan for you laid ahead?
No, it's not a plan, but I would like to try.
All right.
Probably I'm not as good to to be in the lineup of any band like this, but it's a kind of reflection test.
That's a good answer. Now, your final word to the wisdom. Now there is someone who wants to follow your footsteps and
I don't want anyone
find a band.
I don't want anyone to follow my footsteps. Every people should find their own way. Never stuck to the systems which are tailored for everybody. find your own way, believe your own values, and fuck the universe.
And that is a very good answer, what I was actually looking for. So thank you, sir. And
You don't
thank you, dear audience. And thanks to the Polish booze giving us a little bit of instructions
Which I drink
to guide
alone.
us here. So how do you say cheers in
Cheers, na zdrowie.
na zdrowie?
Na zdrowie.
So
Cheers.
off you go, people. This is Rauta, this is Steelfest 2025, and this is Deus Mortem. No, go metal or get drunk, or both. Bye. That was a very good answer,
Thank you.
by the way. That was exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah? Okay.
But to be honest, and now I'll take this one. I
Did
kind
you
of
turn it on?
you kind of surprised me with that.